Okay, let's see if we can make this work. This is not an Uber video. This is a political video for you guys who are watching. But real quick, two topics of the day. As you can see, the video is titled Biden at the Border. There was a huge outcry for why almost 2 years into his administration, President Biden had not visited the border. And as we know, the border is a mess. If you watch any media outlet that even remotely leans right, you're going to see the chaos at the border in virtually every segment. So the first question we're going to be talking about or asking is, did Biden's visit to the border make a damn bit of a difference? Second topic, George Santos, the congressman, the representative out of the state of New York, the one that has openly stated he has, quote unquote, embellished his resume. Should an individual that is elected by the people who is found to be guilty of a host of falsehoods and lies, should they be required to resign? He has just been nominated. Representative McCarthy has just been nominated, or better yet, he's just been voted in as the leader of the House. And yet there's not a lot of outcry in regards to this Republican, meaning Santos, for the amount of lies he has told. So those are the two questions we're going to be tackling today. As always, this is a MAGA-friendly program. MAGA are my preferred guests. Do not let the name steer you wrong. I make the solemn promise on every broadcast. I do not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. The fact that you may disagree with the host doesn't make a damn bit of a difference. Come in the box. I'll give you plenty of time to state your point without any fear of censorship. Looking in the comments, let's go Donnie. In regards to Let's Go Donnie, I'm assuming you're suggesting number 45, President Trump. Is there a realistic chance he will be number 47? A lot of political analysts are suggesting that Trump's time in office has probably come and went. But nevertheless, he is running. And I guess we'd ask the follow-up question. Since Trump has announced that he intends to seek the presidency again, do you see the excitement for Trump 2024 being similar, greater, or weaker than it was for Trump 2016? When Trump came down the escalator and announced he was going to run in 2015, drain the swamp, build a wall, we've been laughing stock, we need to build up our military, things like that. Do you see the same excitement now for President Trump running in 2024 that you saw in 2016? I'd be curious to see in the comments. Donnie is a con man, so Santos is okay, says Mufasa120. Wow, that's a strong opinion. Fair enough. That's what we're asking. Should Santos be required to step down? There's no denying the man has lied about a host of things. A lot of politicians lie. But did he cross the line? Going to the box, someone came in the box and bounced. Okay, we'll keep it in the comments. Yes, some excitement. But in comparison to 2016, is the excitement the same, greater, or less for the current Trump's campaign for 2024? There's no way Trump gained supporters. He's fading, says Accidental Addict. So you're suggesting that the Trump in 2024, or seeking the presidency in 2024, you're suggesting that he has lost some supporters since he's left office. Your humble correspondent, yeah, I would tend to agree with that. But has he lost enough? Is the Biden economy, the Biden administration, the Biden policies disappointing enough voters that they would be willing to turn back to Trump? That's what we're going to be talking about. There's no way Trump gained supporters. He failed. Okay, fair enough. You are lost, brother, says Ant's Dreams. Come in the box. Let me know in front of 440 plus folks. And by the way, folks, I implore you to tap your screen. Get your boy likes up. We'll start out with around 5,000. This is a MAGA-friendly program. I am a liberal. I lean left. But nevertheless, the purpose of the hat, as I say in every broadcast, is to let folks on the right know that this is a program where you will be allowed to speak without any fear of censorship or banning. I solemnly believe that the mainstream media does not often give folks on the right a fair play. So even in my little tiny corner of social media, I always make that promise that anytime I'm speaking to someone, regardless if you're on the right or the left, you'll always get a fair chance to speak without fear of censorship. Get a lot of folks I disagree with, but I do not ban, block, or censor you for your commentary. Your opinion is just as valuable as mine. It's not my place to, to ban your First Amendment rights here. So come on in here. Looking at the cup, it is Pendejo. Pendejo, welcome back to the program if TikTok allows it to go through. Good afternoon, Pendejo.
Good afternoon, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Two questions now. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar, but Biden has went to the border. There was a huge outcry with the mess we have at the border. Why hasn't the president went down there? Well, now he has. Do you think it made any difference at all?
Um, Difference? No, no. There's not going to be a difference. This is just a show thing. I'm looking at it now, and uh, none of the border people really care for Biden. They're just shaking his hand and going through the motions. I see everybody just going through the
Well, when you
motions.
say when you say border people, who do you mean by border people?
The border control, the border officers,
Oh,
everyone
okay, okay.
that's working there. It's mainly a show. If he wanted to do something, he would, just demand that the Dreamers get through. He would, just make it comprehensive. Immigration reform, just basic stuff.
But what would
That
be in regards to immigration reform? Now, the left and the right have different opinions on what immigration reform would look like. What could Biden do in terms of immigration reform that would satisfy, say, officers of the Border Patrol that you're bringing up, or even Governor Abbott of Texas, which handed him a fairly nasty letter when he went down there? But what could he do in terms of immigration reform that would satisfy those folks?
Not a thing. It would never satisfy. It would never satisfy. You're trying
Can't
to
argue with
satisfy. You're trying to satisfy people that just coming with conspiracies, just coming, making up stuff. So they don't have any facts. I mean, there was
Give
once
me elaborate on that. Give me an example of a conspiracy you're suggesting that is being presented or thrown at Biden.
when there was a governor of Arizona. She was a lady.
Yeah.
Obama went to visit her and she disrespected him. And she was out there putting out that there was 100,000 immigrants, that were crossing the border daily, and that she was
Wow.
having, yeah, that's what well, because they don't care what they say. There has to be no merit to what they say ever. I
Yeah,
mean, what?
I think the current number is about 2,500. I think they said or something like that. 2,500 a day. 100,000. Wow. Yeah, that would have been bad.
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, even at 50,000 a day, in 10 days, that's 500,000 people. Give me a
Yeah.
break. Are you crazy? That's a city. That's big.
That's a really big city. Yeah, 500,000
Yeah,
is a really big city.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even at 10,000 a day, in 10 days, it's 100,000 people. These
Yeah.
numbers are just totally inflated. They don't care what they say. Is the point? They're backing the former president who's still looking for 11,000 votes in Georgia. Give me a break. They just want to make it up as they go. I
But at
mean,
the end of the day, even from the liberal side of the aisle, there are folks on the left that believe the border is a mess. We Do you see what
wait,
Biden
can
is
I just
currently?
interrupt? Can I
Huh?
just interrupt you? They,
Sure, go ahead.
you know, there are negotiations that happen, right? And like
Okay.
when Obama was president, he conceded, a lot of things to the right just to concede. It's like, say, the amnesty for Cubans, and I think and I think that was a good thing. You know, the 1 foot on the soil. I think all immigration should be the same. You know what I'm saying? It should just be no favorite.
Well, you can't wait a minute. You can't make all immigration the same because all immigrants are not coming from the same problems and issues.
But you know, you can't just give carte blanche to Ukrainians and white folks, and then just say, well, there's different rules for the Haitians, you know, that were treated really, really bad when they were trying to come in. You know,
Yeah, but even with the extreme poverty in Haiti, yeah, I'm
Haiti.
pronouncing it right. Haiti. In regards to the extreme poverty in Haiti, they're not facing total annihilation, are they? I mean, when you look at what Russia's trying to do to the Ukraine, they're trying to literally make that country cease to be a sovereign nation. They're trying to take it over completely. So I don't know. Would you put Haiti's
I,
immigrants in the same category? Go
I,
ahead.
yes, I would, because there's no immigrant that has seen more destruction and anything bad as Haiti. They've had earthquakes, they've had bad government, they've had, you know, even money thrown at them, and there's no solution to Haiti. You know, I mean, uh, it's the worst. It's probably the worst place on earth. You know, well, I can't say that. Some
Wow.
Eastern Asian countries seem to be, you know, ripe with slavery. You know, slave labor. So I can't say that. I haven't been everywhere on earth. So,
Well, yeah, when you started saying this, Haiti's the worst place on earth, you kind of backing up Trump's shithole comment when you say something like that.
right. Well, it's there's no countries that are shithole countries, man. There's good in everywhere, but Um, I mean, here's my argument with the right, though. They're always just making up stuff. You know, they have no proof, they have no argument, so they just make it a slogan and run with it. Like they're gonna waste time uh, trying to execute Hunter Biden. You know, give me a
Trying
break.
to, you don't think they're trying to actually execute the man. You mean trying to investigate him.
Investigate, execute. You know, they don't have
But
any.
what? But let's be honest. That's not something that is unique to the right. If that same Hunter Biden situation existed among a right wing president and their child, wouldn't Nancy Pelosi and the liberals try to do the same thing?
No, 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 no,
You
no.
don't think so?
Democrat,
I
de-
gotta disagree with that. I gotta disagree. I think that
no,
at the end of the
Democrats
day,
just keep their mouths shut. That's their problem. Look, well,
all
okay,
of
tell me,
those investigations of Trump and all of those impeachments, and you think the Democrats keep
because
their
he
mouth
was
shut?
he was a rogue administrator. He's a rapist. He's a groper. He's a crook. You know,
You do know they say the exact same stuff about Biden. I'll give you
but
the
because
last
they
word, though.
say
I got to
it.
move it on. I'll give you the last word. Go ahead.
It's because they say that he's bad and they say, but they have no proof. You know, they have no look. Hunter Biden, you know, miscalculated a sword. That's all the FBI came up with is that he misrepresented a sword from China, the value of it, and that was the whole investigation. You know,
Well,
the
right.
laptop. Trump has
Well,
had the laptop for 4 years.
at the end of the day, the investigation is not over with. So you can't exonerate or convict Hunter Biden yet because there is a thorough investigation that has not yet been performed. But I do got to move it on, Pendejo. Come on back anytime.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Good talk. Good talk. All right. The comments. Oh my God, you can't fix stupid. Fancy Prancy. Come on. We allow the folks to get their point across. Some you're going to agree with, some you're not. Fancy Prancy is indeed a friend of the program. Come on through anytime, Fancy. Looking in the comments, the man is so misinformed, brainwashed as fuck, boy. Trump is investigation about 4 years, a nothing. Okay, I'm assuming you're saying the 4 year investigation that Trump is a nothing burger. Well, In regards to President Trump, I just the same thing I just said about Hunter Biden. If until you have a conviction, you gotta assume the person is innocent. I don't like the way some of the things that Trump has been accused of looks, but at the end of the day, he has not been convicted of anything yet. But then again, neither is Hillary Clinton, and neither has Hunter or Joseph R. Biden. So until you get a conviction, they're all innocent. Going back to the box, it is the one and only, my MAGA loving, my right wing buddy, 52 Cent. Always good to hear from 52. Good afternoon, 52 Cent. Biden has went to the border. Talk to me.
Well, maybe they'll take him over and the drug cartel can deal with him.
Wait a minute, though. Isn't that what you guys wanted? You wanted Biden to go to the border to see what is happening. He has done that. Does he not deserve any credit at all?
Um, if your house is on fire, does a fire department get credit if they show up 2 years later?
Okay, so let's take what you just said. Biden has showed up 2 years late. And by the way, Governor Abbott of Texas said the exact same thing. So at this point, if he showed up 2 years too late, why were there folks just as late as a few weeks ago criticizing him for not going to the border? At that point, as you're saying, it's already too late.
He's an idiot. It wouldn't matter what he does or where he goes. His brain can't comprehend what he sees or where he's been. So it doesn't matter anyways at this point.
Okay, then let me ask you the second question. George Santos, the Republican congressman out of New York, literally looks like he's lied about every damn thing. Why isn't there any outcry from the Republican Party about this guy? He's lied about everything from suggesting his mom died in 9/11 to the schools he went to the jobs he's worked at, to claiming he is actually Jewish. Why isn't there any outcry from the right?
Like Biden being raised in a black church and doing so well in college. You mean like those kind of comments?
So I don't know. Biden being raised in a black is that is saying you were raised in a black church on the same par with saying your mom died in a World Trade Center?
If you lie, a lie is a lie.
I don't know if I would suggest that a lie is a lie. When you start talking about you went to schools you didn't go to and you worked at jobs you never went to, I mean, you know, so there is no line in the sand for you in regards to what you can lie about. Any lie is the same as any other lie.
A lie is a lie. There's no such thing as a small sin. A sin is a sin. You
Okay.
can't change it.
So if I get elected and my folks and my constituents believe I was a Navy SEAL or that I or that I did some serious stuff for the
I
military and
can
it's
look
all a
at you and
lie.
tell you weren't a Navy SEAL. So you go ahead and try to push that one, and we'll see
What people
how that
do.
goes.
Well, that's why they have the term stolen valor. People actually do that.
I mean, your name says handsome. Yeah, but there could be an argument.
All
I,
right, 52. All
hey,
right. So
you are
go ahead.
aware Patriots Day was my birthday, and I am 60 now, which clearly makes me your elder. So,
Okay, all right.
so my
That don't
elder
make you
wisdom,
wiser. That doesn't
my
mean you're
elder
wiser, though.
wisdom tells me you need to quit voting Democratic and come over to the bright side.
Well, give me some options then. Right now, I see nothing but darkness. Give me some options. You guys can't even unite. You can't even unite among each other. You won Congress, and you can't even look good in victory. Give me some options.
We welcome you, my brother.
Okay. All right. You got. Well, let me ask you that. Let me ask you this before I let you go. Why do you believe it is so few African Americans go to the Republican Party? Why is that?
It doesn't make sense because the Republican Party's the one that has backed all the black agendas for years. So I can't give you that answer.
Well, when you say black agendas, we tend to favor Black Lives Matter. We liked Colin Kaepernick. You think the Republican Party was in favor of that stuff?
Well, I know one thing. Had Colin Powell run for president And even if he ran as a Democrat, I would have voted for him.
Okay, well, he was to the right. But let me ask you this, because somebody in the comments asked this question, and I want to pass it on to you. You said Republicans are more in line with the black agenda. We have to ask, what is your definition of the black agenda?
Well, everything, look what Trump did. Lowest black unemployment in forever. How he supported the black colleges. Um, there was a lot of programs that Trump initiated that he gets zero credits for.
I don't know if I would say that the jobs and the economy was a black agenda issue. The economy under Trump was good, no denying that, but that was for all. That wasn't tailored specifically towards blacks. When you talk about black agenda, what about like the George Floyd Act that Biden tried to pass that failed? When you listen to what African Americans are complaining about, I don't know if I would agree that the Republicans are addressing those issues. Most of those issues, you have folks on the right, particularly the Candace Owens types, that are saying those issues are fabricated. They're not even real.
Let me tell you one thing. Don't put George Floyd at the top of examples of what is right to do with the black community. George Floyd was a fucking criminal.
Okay. All right. Well, we're not arguing. But when we say George Floyd, we're talking about what happened to the man, not what his past was.
Oh, that cop was a son of a bitch. He got what he had coming.
Okay, that's what we're talking
He
about.
was above and beyond, and I've always told you that. I have
Well,
never.
you're not one of the folks on the right that's told me it was fentanyl, so I do appreciate that. But I gotta move it on. 52. Always a good talk, man. 60 years old now.
60. Stick a fork
Shit.
in me. I'm done.
Well, there are a lot of liberals who will respond by saying, well, that means you'll soon be dead. So,
Well, that's okay because us Republicans are learning from you guys. They'll dig my ass up and stand me in front of a machine.
You always got a good comeback. Catch you on the next one, man. Good talk.
All right,
Always
brother. Love you.
All right. Always a good talk. All right, look it in the comments. Education for minorities, support for minority families, job training for minority communities. I'm assuming you're saying that was done by Trump. And earning money with Lumi, like the name. Trump inherited a good economy that he destroyed when unemployment went up to 7%. Wow. Okay. Now, make no mistake about it, there's a lot of folks who believe the Trump economy was good, and they actually compare that to Biden as one of the issues where Trump was doing much better. So that's a reverse opinion there. All right, going back to the box. Appreciate you guys rolling with your boy. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 5,000 likes. I appreciate it. It's a MAGA-friendly program. MAGA are my preferred guests, but nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Same spiel. I do not ban, censor, or block anyone for their commentary. Anytime you come in the box, you can say your point. Regardless if you agree with the host or not, that doesn't mean a damn thing. I'll give you plenty of time to state your point. Stevie D. TikTok is playing a few games today, but we'll see if it works. Stevie D, we're talking in comments. Hopefully it lets you on. Looking in the comments real quick. A great president passed his policies, not just executive orders. Shit, when have we had a president that has done that? We've had a lot of presidents lately, certainly with Obama and Trump, that is, for the most part, feasted on a diet of executive orders because we've had so much division in Washington now. It's difficult to actually pass your policies. I don't know what happened with the box there. Stevie D, I was trying to bring you on. All right, for some reason it's not connected. We'll move it on. Let's go on to Chris. Always, I do apologize. TikTok tends to be. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I can't see you in the box. So turn off your Bluetooth. Serious echo. Okay, I don't know what the hell. Okay, can you hear me?
All right, is that better?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but when I can't see you in the box, I know something's going wrong with the app. But let's have a conversation. So Biden has went to the border as I asked the previous callers, has that made a difference? Are folks on the right at least giving them accolades for going to the border?
I don't think they're ever going to be honest with you. I mean, until there's some actual change in policy, or enforcing laws that are on the books, or making changes to those laws the right way, then I don't think why should he get any credit?
Yeah. But what could he really do? Even if Biden was to finish the construction of the wall, we're going to give Trump credit for that because it came from Trump. What could Biden do where Republicans will say, "Yeah, that's a good thing. You get credit for it."
Like I said, just enforce the laws that are on the books. I mean,
Yeah, but if he
obviously
enforces the laws that are on the books, the response is going to be he didn't do shit for the border. Those are laws somebody else came up with.
he'd still be the first president in my memory that actually enforced the laws as written.
What about Trump? How did you feel about Trump's behavior on the border, his actions on the border?
I don't think he. I mean, he kind of started to do what he said he was going to do with the wall and everything like that. But I think it goes a lot further than just needing a wall. I think it's like the fentanyl issue and stuff like that. I mean, that's not coming across on people's backs. That's in trucks and ships. We need more control of that. 'Cause that's my biggest issue with the border is just American safety.
Yeah, but we've always had a significant amount of contraband coming across that border. Obviously, fentanyl is the latest and greatest drug, but we've always had cocaine, marijuana, you name it, coming across the border. How do you stop that when many folks believe that a lot of players in the drug game are members of Washington or of the Border Patrol?
I mean, I'm not an expert on how to stop it. I just know I know that come on in 2023, there's got to be a way to stop it, or at least dramatically decrease the amount that's getting through.
Well, but like I said, if Border Patrol or politicians in Washington are making a killing off the stuff coming across the border, that might be your problem in 2023, which is probably the same problem it was in 1983. There are too many Americans profiting off of what's coming across for anything legitimate to be done about it. Now, as you stated early in our conversation, this fentanyl is not coming across on the backs of folks just walking in the Rio Grande. And that's the point I'm trying to make is they're not doing it alone. They're receiving assistance on this side of the border.
Right, and that comes down to you got to weed out what the root cause is, who's helping it on our side, who's helping on the other side, and find a way to better fight the problem than what we're doing, because what we're doing is definitely not working.
Yeah. But I don't, I guess I agree with you. I think the only issue is, though, is the people who are in charge of this country, whether they lean right or left, there are too many of them that are profiting from the drug trade, profiting from the contraband. So that when we say we need our people that's in charge to do something about it, a lot of them are the ones that's actually making the problem exist in the first place. So I don't, I don't know how you can solve that.
You vote them out. You figure out who that is that's profiting from it, and you know basically the base root cause of it, because it's always about money. And you
Right.
vote them out, and prosecute them if you have evidence that they've done something illegal, and move on from there, whether it be folks on the left or the right.
Yeah. But would it be that easy though? I mean, just like, okay, I'm from the south side of Chicago. Any drug dealer on the block that's willing to give a few bucks back to the community, it's going to be harder to get people to tell on that person because even though they're corrupt as hell, they're throwing a bone to the people at the bottom. Same thing in politics. If you're assisting in the corruption coming across the border. But as a politician, you make the proper donations to the proper causes, other politicians and stuff like that. Is it really that easy to vote somebody out like that that would ultimately have so many friends?
Is anything worthwhile actually easy? I mean,
No, that's a good
change is
point.
not easy.
That's a good point. All right, before I let you go, I want to ask you about George Santos, the second topic. This guy has been caught lying about every damn thing. Should he be required to step down? Why is there virtually silence from the Republican side of the aisle?
I've only heard bits and pieces of it, to be honest with you, mostly from things I've learned from you talking on your program.
Okay.
But if all that's true, then yeah, you definitely should have to step down. I mean, it's ridiculous. But just like the other gentleman said, a lie is a lie. But when you cross there's definitely lines that are crossed. When you
Yeah.
start lying about certain things, that definitely. At bare minimum, I don't see how he ever gets elected to anything again.
Yeah, yeah, that's most likely going to be the case. Is that, like you said, vote them out in regards to the border issues. He's like, because he's in New York, so he's already in a liberal area. He ran as a right winger, corn star. Appreciate whatever the hell that was. Looked like it was a camel or something. Thank you. But yeah, at the end of the day, he probably will not be elected. But he has 2 years to really do some serious damage. I mean, he has 2 years ahead of him, so he could do some real damage.
I can't argue with that. I don't even know to be honest, I don't even know what the process would be to start a recall on somebody like that, or if what he did was even, if it was technically illegal, or if it's just something that's everybody's going to frown upon it.
Yeah, I don't think it's any crimes in terms of lying to your constituents, but it certainly made it so that they're now going to be looking into his financial records and all of that stuff. But listen, Chris, I got to move it on. It's
All
always a
right.
pleasure talking to you.
Have a good one,
All
Tim.
right. Hey, you too. You too. Good talk. Comment: Santos is a liar. Wannabe Proud Boy. I don't know if I make the leap to. You're suggesting that George Santos of New York is a wannabe Proud Boy? Wow. Okay, I've never heard that before. New York doesn't have recall laws. Yeah, and a lot of things we do in this country at that level is done on the honor system, and we're starting to see a point in history where people are pushing the envelope so far that, yeah, they're going to probably have to start putting laws in black and white to prevent folks from doing things like that. I got to bring up Trump in regards to the possibility, I don't know if it's true or not, but the possibility that he was questioning whether he could pardon himself. That's something that, if done on the honor system, needs to be removed. They need to have it in black and white. If a president is being investigated, not Trump, but any president, if they're being investigated for crimes, they do not have the ability to pardon themselves. The fact that Trump was able to even ask that shows that that is something that has been done on the honor system. That we just assume if a president is facing charges, they will do the right thing and either step down or follow the system fairly. Pardon yourself. That needs to be in black and white. So I do believe that too many politicians nowadays are pushing the envelope, and yeah, they're going to have to start passing some laws. Y'all been saying Trump's going to jail since 2015, says Sir Poonjalat. I like the name. In regards to suggesting that Trump's going to jail since 2015, on my program, which has only been on about a year, I've been stating that people at his level do not go to jail. However, before the call for Trump to go to jail since 2015, they were calling for Hillary Clinton to go to jail. So you can talk about the folks on the left constantly yelling bullshit that this man is going to go to jail, but you can't ignore the fact that it also came from the right in regards to Hillary Clinton. She didn't go to jail either, and neither will Hunter Biden. Going back to the box, it is DJ Diamond Eyes. Diamond Eyes, I'm going to assume no relation to Diamond and Silk. Diamond Eyes, good afternoon.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You've been tuned in. This is our first time talking?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Nevertheless, welcome to the program. So, what do you think about Biden actually going and visiting the border? Was that a good thing, or was it just useless?
I think that any president that comes into the White House needs to do everything they need to make everything perfect in the world, even if that means to go to the border. Especially have.
Perfect. Wait. You said perfect in the world. Is it the job of the United States president to make the world perfect?
Well, no, not in general. I mean,
Okay.
I mean that if you're going to go to the border, you take care of something that's happening there. And that's the job of every president. If there's a situation on our country, on our land, that we should, do
Right.
whatever we can to fix it, good or bad. But then again, you have to
Yeah, but
think.
at the end of the day, so at the end of the day, how do I mean? We had 2,500 people there alleging that are coming across the border every single day. So that's obviously thousands of people, tens of thousands of people every month. What could possibly stop that other than just a blanket? Hell no, we can't let you in. How do you stop that?
You can never stop it. I mean, there's areas on the border that they don't even have walls. So and then
Yeah.
and also you can't even you shouldn't even yes, you should try to get the wall up there. But in the same time, there's there's people coming over with planes. They're going with boats. They're going into Florida. They don't there's other ways to come into the country. So no matter if you put the wall
Well,
there or not.
how do you respond? Trump was flirting around with a minimum 5 years of incarceration for anybody caught entering the country. Would you support that?
Well, there's people coming to the country for certain reasons. There are bad people that come into the country. They're good people. Just because a person comes into the country, they shouldn't just go to jail because
Well, wait a minute though. Even though you're saying they're good people, the minute you come into the country improperly, you are a criminal. Doesn't matter if you're going to come here and work honestly for the next 20 years. Your initial entry is a crime. He's talking about punishing for that initial crime.
they shouldn't be punished. They should be sent back. They came in, you send them back, plain and simple.
Okay.
And tell them, hey,
So
you
if
want to
you
come
catch
into the country?
somebody,
It's
so if
your,
you
you
catch,
want
what
to
if you catch somebody entering the country illegally and they state to you, I'm trying to flee the cartel and my life was in danger. That's why I did that.
then you try to help them in some way. The United States has become a big brother to the world, which in a way it's good, in a way it's bad. Because we become a big brother, we everybody wants to come to us, to get help. So if we change our policies in a way where the world sits there and says, okay, we can't come to the United States because they're not going to always help us, then we wouldn't have the issues of people jumping over the border or anything like that. But we sit there and say, oh, here, come and help, we'll help you, we'll help you. We're the melting pot. We're already melted too much to the point where we have people coming over here and we don't even have places for our people to live because they're homeless. Because
Well, no, here to me, when you say we got too many people coming over here and we don't even have places for our people to live, to me, you sound like the guy walking past a homeless guy and you wearing a $10,000 suit saying, I don't have money to give you. When you look, I used to be an over the road driver, so I've been in all 48 of the lower states. The idea that we don't have places for people to live. I've been in exceptionally rural Wyoming. I've been up in Maine. I've been through vast expanse of New Mexico. Texas, from Dallas to El Paso, is almost uninhabited. How do you see where we don't have room?
that's what I was going to get at. Now
Okay, all
we don't
right.
have room, but the reason we don't have room is because we're paying attention to everything else around the world and not fixing the skyscrapers, in the Bronx there are all what you call it closed down, and abandoned, where we can use that for that, but because we're so worried about everybody else, we're not saying, okay, let's fix that tower that's over there that's all empty for the homeless to live there, even if they don't want to live there, because there are homeless people that don't want to live in these places. But at
Okay.
least we have the opportunity to have a place for them. But we don't do that. We don't worry about that building that we can use for that homeless. We don't worry about that building for the person that came into the country that's legit to live there. So what do the people that they come here to live legit? They'll come into a house and have 50 people live in one house.
Yeah,
You know,
that
because
is good.
they don't have the opportunity to go to these places because they don't have them. There's buildings all in New York City and even in other states, that have these big buildings and they don't do nothing. So that's why we see all these people come over the border and saying, "Oh, look, they have these big buildings and they're all empty. We can go to the United States and we can live there." And then
Well, most Americans, hell, I'm sitting in a vehicle right now that seats seven, and I'm almost always the only person in here. Most Americans have room. We just don't like to share. I mean, if I'm driving down the street and a family of three say, can you give me a ride? Shit, I don't have room in here, man. I mean, so I get your point, but we're
What,
not big on sharing. I do
what,
got to move it on. I'll give you the last word, though.
okay, so one thing I was going to say, that's the reason why I tried to get on the live, is that we have all these presidents that's come in. Yes, we had issues with Trump. We have issues with Biden. But you have to understand, everything that's happening now is not because of Trump, or it's not because of Biden or anything like that. It's the last president that put something into the process. It's going to take a while to happen. So whatever good Trump did is going to come and happen later on. Whatever bad Trump did, it's going to happen later on. Whatever Biden does good, it's going to come later on. Whatever, it happens like that.
Yeah,
Everybody wants everything to happen right away.
that
You
is
got these
true. That is
politicians.
true.
You have these
It takes, yeah,
politicians.
it takes time. Yeah, that is true. It takes time for the policies of any administration to often sink in for us to see the good or the bad of it. So, Diamond Eyes, always hey, good to have you on, man. Come on back through anytime. You're always welcome back.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, moving on in. What did Trump do legally? I mean, I don't see where he's not. He hasn't been convicted of anything. So right now, until there's a conviction, everything he has done has been legal. He hasn't been convicted of anything. Death sentence. Wow, Eddie Curry. Wow. Okay. Tell that to the children Trump separated from their families. My name is Kitten. You gotta, if you're gonna bring up Trump separating families, inevitably the fact that Obama was doing it too is gonna come up. So be prepared for that. All right, going back to the box. It is Stevie D. I don't know. I tried to bring you on, but for some reason it's frozen on you. So we'll go ahead to Loving Life. I don't know what's going on. Stevie D. Try to cancel it and reset it, and I'll put you on next.
Hey, Mr.
But it's
Gabriel, how
Loving
you doing
Life.
today?
I'm doing good, doing real good. Good to have you on. We got a couple topics I wanted to run by. First, being Biden has visited the border. There's been outcry basically since he got elected almost 2 years. Well, 2 years ago now. There's been outcry that he has not visited the border. Well, now he's been down there. Does he get any kind of credit or accolade for that?
Well, just visiting a border is kind of just, it's just kind of not. I mean, it is good that he showed up there, but like it doesn't really do anything for him showing up there. I mean, there's actually a lot of work to be done at all borders.
Then why the outcry? If it does no good for him to go there, why were Republicans making such a big deal about it?
I don't know. They like to just, okay, like this guy's a bad president. He don't do nothing. Like he's, that's, but in reality, like there's a difference between him and Trump, though. I mean, like a lot of the accusations that Trump is being accused of, he actually did. Like that, that there's all this about Biden, like there's no proof there. But
Well,
all
and,
the
and I
proof.
just, in regards to the accusations against Trump being valid and the ones against Biden not being valid, as I just stated to the last caller, until Trump is convicted, it's not true. You can't, even though I
Right.
hear what you're saying, and even as a liberal, I tend to believe some of it as well. But until he is convicted, he's an innocent man,
Yeah. Yeah. I
right?
mean,
I mean,
I'll
that's
give you
how our
that, but I
system
mean,
works, right?
the facts are there. They just, they went through the whole January 6th and everything, and they finally closed it because they were done with their investigations. Now the DOJ has to do their job and, see if there's any criminal prosecution for Trump.
So
Uh,
let me ask you this question in regards to your statement about Trump being guilty. They performed a search warrant on his house last autumn. Here we are deep in winter and there has not been an arrest yet. Any idea why? Because if they did a search warrant on my house or your house by now, you wouldn't get 3 months. Particularly if they're showing the evidence on TV. We did a search warrant because he had illegal documents in his home. Here is the picture of the documents, yet no arrest. How is the American people supposed to view that?
well, they because there's so many different areas where the laws were broken. I mean, it wasn't just him. They
But
got a
but
process. They
okay,
got a lot of people that were under criminal investigation as well. Like you got Marjorie Taylor Greene,
everybody else that participated in the January
Yeah, but
6th
they're not.
riot.
But you're
Or
talking about But you're talking about participants. They said that the actual contraband, the evidence was found in his home. Even if there are
right.
other participants, why would you have not arraigned, or what do you call it, indicted rather? Why would you have not arrested the guy that you found with the stuff on him?
They got to make sure that it's a stickable offense. They got to make sure that like it sticks, because I mean, a lot of prosecutors, they want to see that if they're going to bring them in, that it's going to stick, because if it's not going to stick, then there's no point of bringing them in. You know
Well,
what I
but
mean?
if it's not going to stick, if it's not going to stick, and there's no point of bringing them in, then you'd have to also argue there was no point of performing the search warrant to begin with. You get what
Uh,
I'm saying?
yeah, I do, but I mean, the documents were there. They went into his house, they found him. But I mean,
But
I don't know the
does
laws
it not look?
100%, but
But do you not question at all, or does it not look odd to you at all that it's been 3 months after they've claimed they've actually found the documents and the man has not been indicted yet? Does that not? You don't question that at all?
well, see, the other thing that I got a question though too is that Merrick Garland was one of Trump's. Wasn't Merrick Garland part of Trump's? Wasn't Trump in office while Merrick Garland was in office too?
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, that looks suspicious right there in itself. Because if Merrick Garland did something dirty, then if because Trump has he just dirtied up the system bad. Like, Trump is dirtier than dirt. But
That's pretty fucking dirty. Okay. I haven't heard that comment in a while. But listen, loving, I gotta move it on.
well,
Dirtier than dirt. Wow. Go
I
ahead. I
wanted
give
to
you the
finish
last
up
word.
because I was actually wanting to get on the topic about the border security and stuff like that. These are my thoughts about border security. Basically, I was thinking that basically, running Coast Guard throughout the coast and training them as if they were Border Patrol officers as well. I mean, they do have some type of training that the Border Patrol has, but I
Yeah,
mean,
but
I'm just,
you're gonna put somebody just sent me some fancy. Thank you for those glasses, 2023. That was cute. You gonna put the Coast Guard in the middle of Texas out in the desert?
no, 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 like on the coast, more on the coast, like how they
They're
coast,
already there. If you're talking about
Yeah,
like, yeah, like the refugees coming in from Cuba and coming in from Haiti, they already are being intercepted by the Coast Guard. But in where most of our folks are coming in, crossing the Rio Grande, it's just a. I mean, I've been on the Rio Grande. It's just a little river. In some places, barely even wider than the car I'm in. So that's. I don't know if that's the place for the Coast Guard.
well, I don't think the fences, the border fence, should not have been made as a normal fence. I think it should have been in just like a big slab of metal or something, like a big metal thing all the way across where they can't even climb up it, and put like razor blade,
Yeah, yeah, but do you realize how
fence
much money? Well, first of all, no matter
a
what you
lot.
put up there, no matter what you put up at the border, people are going to find a way to go over, under it, or through it. I mean, that's just you're talking 2,000 miles of a border. And obviously, it's going to cost a fortune to build the wall, but then the wall, whatever it's made out of, has to be maintained and things like that. So I mean, you could, as Trump used to always joke, the wall is now going to be 10 foot higher or whatever. People are going to find a way to climb over that damn thing or dig a tunnel under it or go right through it,
Yeah.
no matter what it's made out of.
What about like signing them up, just getting everybody documented and using the facial recognition, like using facial recognition that Iran this is a new technology that Iran has already just brought into
Yeah, but
their
what do
own
you mean when you say
country.
sign? When you say sign everybody, what do you mean? Every single person that comes to the border saying they want to come in, you sign them up?
Hmm.
That's only going to encourage more people to come.
Well, I mean, facial recognition, I mean, yet and
But
closing the borders, I
what is
think that,
what's the purpose of the facial recognition?
because I mean, it verifies, who's legal and who's not. They
Yeah,
could,
but if a person is if a
if you don't have
person right now
papers.
if a person right now walks up from Guatemala to the American border and crosses over, you can scan them with facial recognition all you want. They're not in the system. It's not going to tell
Right.
you anything.
But it'll alert the system right away that, look, this person doesn't have anything. Like it'll either lock in who this person is, or it's somebody coming in illegally, because it would warn them like, hey, look, this person is illegal and this one's not, because this
Well,
one
you
doesn't,
don't
it's not
need,
even in my
yeah,
system.
yeah, you don't need facial recognition to know who's coming in legally or not. The people who coming in legally aren't going to walk across a river or a desert in the middle of the night. If that person is running from you when you see him, he doesn't have paperwork.
Yeah, and just more border agents too, probably. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is just what they want. They, like, I think that just put them here legally, period. Because I mean, I think we're already screwed to begin with.
All right, fair enough. Well, you definitely sound like your method in regards to the border is extremely progressive. So, I mean, we do have Biden in office, but yeah, you're talking about it because what you're suggesting would bring in lots, lots more people. It sounds like a very progressive method, but hey, nevertheless, depends on who's in office. You might get that. Doesn't look like Biden is going to do that, but yeah, you would swell up the number of folks trying to get in here doing that. But I got to move it on, Loving.
All right,
Appreciate you coming
Mr.
in.
Liberal. Have a
Hey,
great week.
you
Good talk
too.
to
You too.
you. Bye.
Absolutely. All right. Get in the comments. Put alligators in the Rio Grande, says Pete. You know, I'm assuming that it's only a rumor, but there are folks that suggested that President Trump, Zion, appreciate the hat and mustache. Yeehaw! There are folks that suggest that Trump did discuss potentially putting a moat, which is a deeper body of water around the border. I guess you could just, bulldoze a trench for 2,000 miles, fill it up with water. And he did suggest something like putting wild, dangerous wildlife in the waterway. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but that is rumors that came out that Trump did suggest doing something that could make it harmful in regards to entering America illegally. So when you said in the comments, put alligators, which is awful. I mean, really, can you imagine, Mexican body parts and shit floating, oh my God. Let's pretend we're not that horrible as human beings. I understand we want border security, but you really want the people to be eaten? Damn. All right, going back to the box. Big D 814. TikTok does not want to play war with Mexico. When make Mexico to U.S. problem solved. Outlaw Josie and
I
Wyatt. Hang on a second. Hold on real quick, Big
one
D.
thing.
In regards to hold on one second. In regards to going to war with Mexico and making it part of the United States problem solved. Well, the issue is there's a lot of folks coming in at the border that are not Mexican. So you're going to take over Guatemala, you're going to take over the Honduras and Nicaragua and all those other countries as well. Big D, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, brother. First time on your show. Now,
Pleasure having
one
you here.
thing I got to say too is
Go for it.
now with the Cubans, and Haitians, this is my thing, and which really burns me is the United States will let a Cuban come in, a boatload of Cubans that touched ground. They'll let them come in, but yet a
Right.
boatload of Haitians roll up right next to them. At the same time, do you know that they're going to deport those Haitians quick and they'll let the Cubans stay? Tell
Okay,
me why they're going to do that.
real quick, you sound muffled, so I don't know if you're moving around, but I did hear what you said. And by the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 25,000 likes, MAGA friendly program. Please do that. Why do you believe, Big D, that they treat Haitians different than Cubans?
They are. I lived in
Why though?
Miami for 35
Why?
years,
Why is that?
and I seen all of that happen. And why is that? That's them. That's the government. They're letting them come over. They want to say they're political, you know, refugees. What's wrong? The Haitians are political refugees also. Let them come in just as well. And if you want to come into this country, come in here legally. Because
Yeah.
the majority of the immigrants that do come in, they take benefits away from us Americans. There's been times that I was down on my luck. I applied for food stamps, right? Do you know at the same time I seen a Hispanic, a Cuban people apply for them, you know they got the benefits and they denied me, and I was born here and I've worked here every day of my life. And one
Mm.
time that I needed help from the government, they told me to go F myself.
Shit. Well,
You
let me
know,
say
and
this in
I've been
regards to
also.
your hang on. In regards to your comment about coming here legally, now I personally have migrated. I lived in Australia, and I went there legally, and I had to get residency and things like that. I can tell you from personal experience, going to a country legally is very costly. And I had a full-time job making good, making a good income and things like that. If I had to go there, if I was unemployed or living like what they do down in the, south of the border, coming to America legally is outside of the range of most of those people.
Well, got it. I'm just saying that
You're
I'm gonna
muffled. I can't
stand
hear
by
you.
that
I
because
can't hear you.
I'm gonna stand by that everybody should come in legally
Okay.
because that's the way. And
What
another thing too
about,
is
okay,
I'm a big Trump supporter, and I've been called a racist because I support that man. Here
okay.
I am. I'm half white, half black, and that's crazy. For me to be called a racist, and
In
I've been
regard
called
to,
racist.
yeah, and that's going to happen. I'm not going to defend anybody calling you a racist. And I've said before, there are plenty of reasons to vote for Trump or vote right that have nothing to do with racism. However, that's politics. And what I mean by that is if you are on the right and you talk to liberals, eventually somebody on the left is going to call you a racist. If you are on the left and you talk to folks on the right, eventually somebody is going to call you a socialist. Doesn't mean it's right. That's just politics. I've been called a socialist 1,000 damn times. So I agree that it's wrong to throw around racism, but folks on the right throw around socialism just the same. It's just demonization words, man.
It's just I agree with a lot of the things you say. It's just when I grew up, you didn't really have all of this craziness. You know, it's the way that this society is just becoming. And to touch on something real quick before I jump off because I got to go back to work here is the January 6th. Okay,
Yes,
a lot of
yes.
people want to talk about that and to
Okay.
talk about Trump. Okay, my thing is that Trump may have said some words, but that don't mean that he made those people do any of these things. You are, and I'm saying you are as like that too. You are responsible for your own actions. Donald
Any
Trump ain't
idea?
responsible for those
It,
people's actions what took place on January 6th.
right. Fair enough. But any idea
He
why
did
he
he
would?
had
Wait. Now you're saying that he's not responsible, which I agree. An adult is responsible for their own damn self. But I have to ask you, after what they did, which was seen on television around the world, any idea why he would go on TV and say, "We love you, go home"?
he's just telling his people to go home. Donald Trump
They're
is
criminals though at that point.
he tells you like it is.
After seeing them ransack the Capitol building, you're saying he's just telling it like it is and telling them he loved them after they did that?
I can see that, but two wrongs don't make a right. But he like I say, he's just telling it like it is. You
Any
know,
idea if
and
in regards to Trump not being responsible for why they did what they did, or even folks suggesting they were let in, or that Ray Epps did it, or something like that? Any idea why so many of those who have been convicted have actually blamed Trump for what happened? They're not blaming Black Lives Matter or Antifa or Ray Epps.
most of the folks that have been convicted for what happened are actually blaming Trump. Why is that?
Do you want to take down the person who's at like that? They want to take who's in the power. They want to snatch him down. So
No, no,
that's
I'm,
just
I'm not.
like
Wait, wait. No, I'm
haters.
talking
People
about
hate Trump,
people.
so
Wait a
they're
minute.
going
I'm
to bring
talking
him
about.
down.
I don't. Yeah, see, I don't think you get what I'm saying. I'm saying people who have been convicted that are potentially facing time in federal prison. Why would they blame Trump if they truly were being instigated by Rayups, or if it was not them and it was actually Antifa? Why wouldn't they say that wasn't me? That was Antifa. Why are they actually getting on the stand and saying we did this for Trump? He told us to come here.
That I couldn't answer.
Okay,
Being honest,
fair
I
enough.
couldn't answer why. They just went there. There's some of those people that are a little bit more radical than others. In that
Yeah,
aspect.
right. Okay,
I couldn't honestly, I personally couldn't honestly answer that one.
right. And
You
I
know,
don't have an answer
but
for it either. But I
again,
gotta say it looks bad.
yeah, it looks bad, but they want, it's like I heard you say the other day. America is like a business, and we do need a businessman to run it. I personally worked for Donald Trump in South Florida at one of his golf courses that he's had. That
Hmm.
man is good, you know. To me, he's good. He's seen me
Okay.
help a coworker out that I was on my vacation just stopping to say hello to the guys, and I end up working a full day just by helping a coworker, and he found out, and he gave me $500 extra on a bonus just for helping someone. That's why
How would you
we
respond?
all just
How
need
would
to come together for real, for
Well,
real.
one of the issues that oftentimes when the liberals promote entitlement programs and things like that, you hear folks on the right say they're only giving out these programs because they're trying to buy liberal votes. You received $500 from Trump. How would you feel if somebody suggested he was just trying to buy your vote?
I would say, how would I feel? That's their opinion.
Fair point.
I know what he gave it to me for, and it was a little personal note. I see that you were helping a fellow coworker on your vacation time. Here, this is, here's a little something for taking your time out off of your vacation to help a coworker out to keep the golf course going.
Okay.
Because I was in
Okay.
charge of irrigation, dude had a
All right, fair, good on you. I got one other question before I let you go. You mentioned in our conversation that we all just need to come together. As a fan of Trump, do you believe he's promoting unity?
I do. I do.
Yeah,
I personally
elaborate.
do.
Elaborate.
What I mean by that is he's trying to bring all of us together to build, to make America, like he said, to make America great again. Back when Ronald Reagan and such was in the White House, America was prospering.
So you
When
see,
Donald Trump first came in, we were prospering.
yeah, but you see stuff
Go
like
ahead.
Sleepy Joe Biden, Pocahontas, Nervous Nancy, Crazy Bernie, Lion Ted Cruz, Ron DeSanctimonious. You see that as unity, promoting unity?
I don't see Joe Biden. To me, okay, I'm a member of a group called Joe Biden is not my president, and he will. I don't. He's everybody else's president. He
Okay,
is the president of the United States, but
right.
he don't even know himself. He don't.
Yeah,
Joe don't know
but
what
that's
Joe's
not
doing from one minute to
okay.
the next.
There are legitimate reasons not to like Biden, but that doesn't quite answer the question I'm asking you. I'm talking about the nicknames, the tweets. Do you see that as promoting unity?
I don't really get into that part of social media because somebody could put out words and just be saying words and people misconstrue them.
Yeah, but there are plenty of
You know,
there's plenty of video footage of the words coming right out of his mouth. You don't think all the nicknames from Trump are social media lies, do you?
I no, I can't really
Okay.
say that. I
So
mean,
you,
some of them
you've heard of
are really close, but you know,
yeah, but you've heard him yelling, you've heard him saying Sleepy Joe Biden. I'm sure you've heard crooked Hillary Clinton. If you are a Trump supporter, you have undoubtedly watched a few of his speeches, any of his rallies. Most of the nicknames I just stated, they're coming right out of his mouth. You see that
yeah,
as promoting unity?
I've 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 mm, no, not really, but in the same time, they'll sling everybody when it's at a race like that. You're gonna say whatever it takes to smudge your opponent's name. You know,
Okay. All
whatever
right.
it takes to
Well,
get you into that power, you're gonna say that. You know,
fair enough. And you're not the only
that's
one to say
how
that. I've heard,
it all
yeah, I've
is.
heard that before. All right, fair enough. And it's just all fair in love and war. All right, man. Appreciate you coming through, Big D. Come on back through anytime. Always a good talk, man. All right, moving on. Sharon, appreciate the TikTok cap. By the way, folks, tap the screen, show your boys some love, get me up to 30,000 likes. This is a MAGA friendly program. Liberals are welcome as well. Do not let the name fool you. I may lean left, but I always promise that solemn promise I will not ban, block, or censor anyone for their commentary. Free speech is paramount here. I always give you time in the box to state your point. The fact that you may disagree with the host never means a damn thing. Tap the screen, 30,000 likes. Appreciate it. Josie, thanks for the rose. Going back to the box, the one and only Timothy Wilmoth, a man of my very own name. I appreciate you guys holding. Let's see if it happens. TikTok has been a little flaky on bringing folks up. Timothy, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How's
Good
it
to have,
going?
I'm doing good. This is obviously our first time talking, right? Because I would have remembered my own name.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's third, fourth
Okay.
time talking.
Oh shit! Well, maybe I didn't remember. So, what do you think, though? Biden at the border, is that a good thing? Did he do the right thing?
Yes and no.
Elaborate.
Okay, he finally went to the border, but no, he should not have promoted it. He should not have gotten all the cameras, all the publicity and everything. He should have just said one day, we're going to the border. I want to see what it's really like. He never did that.
But how could you possibly, as the president of the United States, show up anywhere without a bunch of cameras popping up?
That's true. Yeah, but I mean, even if the cameras, he should have said, look, we're going to go tomorrow or we're going to go this day. You know,
Okay.
he told him a week or so in advance before he was going to go.
Yeah, but okay. So if he had did what you're suggesting and made it more of a surprise visit, how would that have been more beneficial in your opinion?
Well, have you ever been to the border?
Many times in different
Yeah, you
locations.
can.
Laredo, I've been down to Far, I've been down to McAllen, I've been to El Paso, I was an over the road driver, so those are all ports of entry. So I've been to all
Yeah,
of them. Yeah.
yeah, you know how bad it
So,
is, truly.
well, I have not been to the border since 2020, so it's gotten obviously worse. In fact, I've taken pictures in front of the wall, but it's obviously gotten worse. But what do you think Biden could do to make it better?
First, it starts with relations with the other countries, where all we're getting all the immigrants from. Get a
I
good
like
rapport with all the other country leaders and say, look, you know, we cannot keep coming. These thousands and thousands of people cannot keep coming to our border wanting sanctuary. We need to figure out something to make it better for them here.
that.
Get a
Okay,
good rapport with the other countries first.
so let's say we got a good rapport with Mexico. What would it take to get the Mexicans to not let these folks use their country as a thoroughfare, which is exactly what's happening? They're literally coming from the south all the way up to the north and going right through Mexico. What what could we give Mexico in that relationship that would make this problem at least be properly addressed a little bit more?
Uh, uh, that's a good question. We could always give him
Yeah.
back El Chapo. I mean, when
You
he
said
was
what?
running, we could always give him back El Chapo. When he was running Mexico, you didn't have all the illegal immigrants there.
Yeah, but
He
you
got
had the
rid of a bunch
drugs
of them.
though. But the problem isn't just the people; it's the contraband that's coming across as well. And El Chapo, that's where he made all his money at.
Yeah, but he kept Mexico in line. No, there wasn't all this gang shootings. There wasn't all the cartels. There was one lead cartel, and it was him. Nobody else tried anything.
Okay, that is a decent argument to make. Very similar to getting rid of Saddam Hussein. He kept Iraqis in line, and once
Yeah.
you got rid of him, the country's in chaos. I don't know though, El Chapo. So, but I want to argue with you on that, but I guess to some degree we got to suggest that there was a time in our history where the border problem was not that bad, not anywhere near like it is now. But damn, I would hate to get that control by giving him one of the most ruthless cartel members back and putting one of those guys in power. Is there not
Yeah.
any other way?
You could always throw money at Mexico, but then that just hurts our economy. I mean, look at
Well,
all the
not
money he's
necessarily.
throwing at
Yeah, but
Ukraine right now.
that's another good point, and I've thrown that one around in my own lives. But I've said it like this: we have enriched China significantly by allowing them to make American products, putting call centers and things over there. If we had done that for Mexico instead of China, which we could have gotten a lot of low-paying workers and labor over in Mexico as well as China, Mexico would be a wealthier country instead of China, and Mexico is an ally as opposed to China. So I kind of do see the argument of throwing money at it to some degree, but use the cheap labor in Mexico as opposed to using the cheap labor in China, because we're not getting anything out of the cheap labor in China. They are our enemies. Whereas if we did it in Mexico, that would give more jobs and their economy would be stronger and they would actually be more encouraged to stay in their own country. And we already are allied with them. So I can see some light in what you're saying.
That's actually a good point. They could actually build across the border and get more jobs, get better, decent paying jobs in Mexico anyway. So that way they would want to stay there instead of crossing to here.
Yeah. Well, at this point, though, I don't know. I mean, with Biden, do you think Biden is doing a worse job or a poorer job than Trump was in terms of border security?
I think he's doing one of the worst jobs in history at the border security.
Wow. Wow. Shit. So, in other words, him going down there and visiting is essentially meaningless.
Yeah, he just did that for the publicity.
All right. Second question I want to ask before I let you go. George Santos, the guy that's now representing one of the districts in New York, essentially caught lying about every damn thing. Why is there no Republican outcry about that?
The Republicans have more things and better things to do than to worry about him. I'm sure he'll get his day, but we have to worry. The Republicans took over the House. There is so much stuff that's happened. They have to get that House in order before they do whatever comes next.
So just ignore the fact that this guy has lied about everything under the sun and just work on other issues?
No, they shouldn't ignore it. They should actually take a little bit. They should acknowledge it, get it out there.
It's already out there.
No, I haven't seen much of that on there. I have to get on my Newsmax there and watch it.
Yeah, I don't think they need to get it out there. It's already out there, but the guy, like I said, he lied about everything under the sun. Is he trustworthy at this point?
Oh, hell no. You can't trust somebody like that.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, man, I got to move it on, Timothy. Always welcome back.
All right.
Appreciate you coming through. Good talk.
I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. You have a good one. Comments, he is Republican. Can't walk and chew gum at the same time. I don't know. Republicans aren't that bad, are they? listen, all politicians have a little bit of multitasking ability, right? I won't say that just because he's Republican. Middle class in the United States will be paying 60% tax rate soon, says Liberty RX. You know, when Obama got elected, they were suggesting in 2007, because he won in 2008, if Obama gets elected, he's going to raise the tax rate to 70%. Gas will be $5 a gallon, and he's going to turn us into socialist Greece. At the time, Greece was the failing country. Now it's Venezuela in most of those comments, but none of that happened. We didn't come anywhere near being taxed 70% under President Obama. So when you say the middle class in the United States will soon be paying 60% of the tax rate, I respond with two issues. First of all, the middle class is fucking drying up and disappearing. Most of the folks who are considered in the middle class now are able to claim so many deductions on their taxes, they're barely paying taxes at all because we keep dropping down what designates as middle class. Other than the pandemic, salaries in this country, the increase in salaries has been ridiculous. Now, even in 2023, there are about a dozen states that are slated to have a minimum wage increase. Should not surprise anyone that virtually none of the deep red Republican states have a minimum wage increase coming. In fact, several states in this country have a minimum wage that is $7.50 per hour. All of the Bible Belt states, with the exception of, I believe, Arkansas and Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, $7.50 per hour. So you're not going to get 70% taxes or 60% taxes from somebody getting paid like that. And there's a hell of a lot of states down south that are like that. All of those Bible Belt states, most of them are considered some of the poorest states in the union. All right, going back to the box, here's Johnny. Always a pleasure talking to Johnny. Good afternoon, Johnny. Welcome back to the
Hey,
program.
Hanson, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing
This
good. Good
afternoon.
to hear from you. Starting out, Biden went to the border. Is that a good thing? I mean, he actually did what folks wanted him to do.
We'll see. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think anything's going to come out of it? How soon do you think the illegal border crossings are going to go down after his visit? Do you think he's actually going to do something?
I don't know if the border crossings even went down under Trump. Remember because when Trump was in office, he was making it clear we're going to separate families. We're going to make it horrible if you come here. We want to deter you from coming here in the first place. And that just shot the numbers up because now it became a case of, well, if we come, they're going to incarcerate us. That means we're going to now be in America for a while. So the amount of immigrants coming into this country under every president, at least in recent history, has went up when they got elected. It didn't go down under Trump either. It's just skyrocketed under Biden, but it went up under Trump as well.
My concern is the skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So let's address that. Do you think the border crossings are going to come back down to a reasonable level, or is the skyrocketing numbers going to be the new norm under a Democrat president?
I think that's a good question. I believe that historically, well, I won't say that because Bush and Reagan did some things for immigrants as well. But I believe in our current environment, the mindset is that liberals are more friendly to folks wanting to come to this country, particularly brown folks south of the border. So it's probably always going to be more of them trying to get here when there's a liberal in office versus a Republican.
Yeah. So you don't really see Biden doing anything different after his border visit, right? So either it was a photo op and nothing changed, or he went down there to actually see what the their issues are. He's going to listen to his Border Patrol agents and do what they ask, or it was just a photo op. I mean, we can't have it both ways. Either he's going to do something or he's not.
Anytime the president, no matter who they are, show up somewhere, it's a photo op. So the question of whether it's a photo op, the answer is always yes. Whether it's, him showing up there or Obama showing up somewhere or Trump walking across the street to hold a Bible up upside down. Every time they go somewhere, it's a photo op. So the
Well,
answer is yes on that. Huh?
was it only a photo op?
Now
Or did
that's
he
a different
actually go
question.
down there to do something, or was it only a photo op? I think in
In my
my gut tells me it was only a photo op. He doesn't plan on doing anything.
In my gut, even though I'm liberal, my gut tells me the same thing. And that is because what I always state, most people believe that when an immigrant, particularly a brown immigrant, comes in this country, the moment they find a way to become legal and have children or whatever, those are liberal votes. There's no denying. A lot of folks on the left, including myself, believe that those are future Democrats. So if you have to ask me, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I believe it's predominantly a photo op and very little more than that.
Yeah. If they were Republican votes, would you be jumping up and down to close the border?
I probably would. Well, even as a liberal, I'm not a fan of what's going on. I don't want, even right now, I believe what's going on is a mess and he needs to get it under control. I'm not saying that we should leave the border wide open because those turn into liberal votes. I'm just saying that's what I believe happens. But yeah,
Yeah.
if it was Republicans coming instead of Democrats, I don't know if my outcry would be any different because I've said before that they're handling the border poorly. But at the same time, you had George W. Bush promoting illegal or promoting immigration by saying they do jobs no Americans want, and Reagan gave tens of thousands of them amnesty.
Yeah.
Only Trump has made a huge deal over the border because even though us liberals believe they turn into votes, the Republicans tend to believe they turn into cheap labor. So the Republican presidents in our lifetime, probably with the exception of Trump, all wanted them to come here too. That's why the problem continues, is because both sides have a dog in the hunt. Both sides want those people here.
Yeah. And Trump had it right. He said, you can come here, but you have to come here legally. Now, when you make them come here legally, it's safer, it's better for them. They don't, all these coyotes and shit, they lose their jobs of running the trafficking these kids and these women. Because if you put that wall up and you put the right security in place and quick reaction forces and all that, and you expel them as soon as they cross and say, no, no, we're not going to hear your case. You have to come through the port of entry. That's it. It'll
Yeah,
stop
but
all that. It would stop all that shit.
I
Every
understand.
person, every person knows that crosses that border illegally. Every single one of them know the magic words to say. I'm here for
Yeah,
asylum.
yeah,
Even
that
if
is
they're
true. I
not,
do, I
they
do
all
believe that.
say it. The word
I
is
do
out.
believe that.
So
However,
that
your
hurts the
argument.
people. That hurts the people that are actually coming here for asylum. It
Yep,
really
I
hurts.
don't. I don't disagree with that. However, here's a problem though. In regards to the argument, come here legally. I would submit to you that if every immigrant that wanted to come to America had to come legally, it would probably disqualify about 80% of them. First of all, just the money alone, just the financial cost alone of getting to this country legally would probably erase most of them. Talk to any Canadian or anyone else, French person or somebody else that migrated to America legally, and when you find out all the stuff they had to go through, you'll realize that makes it out of range for most of them. Not to mention, there's an age like when I relocated, I say to my on my live streams all the time, I migrated to Australia for a few years. There is an age range that if you're outside of that, unless you got a whole bunch of money, you're not coming. You need to have a skill. There is a certain block of things that qualify you to migrate to most countries. If you're a 60-year-old wanting to leave Mexico and come to America and you don't have any money, there probably is no avenue other than marrying an American that's going to get you here legally. There's nothing you can do other than sneak in the country. There's no other
Well,
avenue for you to come legally.
I mean, I think that needs to be looked at, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't just be based on money. But at the same time, when you come here, you should at least have a plan, and that plan should not be living off the government. You should have a
Well,
plan, and if you
but
plan to live off the government, there needs to be a plan to get off of that. Maybe a year or something to help you get on your feet. But your plan shouldn't be, I'm going to come there and I'm going to be on welfare and unemployment or whatever for the rest of my life.
But
Well,
but do you think
you didn't
do you
pay into
think the
that.
majority of immigrants that come to this country are coming for welfare and free health care? Do you really think that's what most of them are coming for?
No, I was basing my comments off of what you just said.
Okay, all
I
right,
was
fair enough.
responding to you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So, yeah, either way, um, if they come here welfare or rich or whatever, they need to have a plan, is all. And we need to have a
Well,
limit. We need to have a limit. It can't just be a bottomless pit. It just can't be. The floodgates just can't stay open. That's
yeah,
obvious. I mean, anybody can look at that and that the floodgates are open right now,
yeah.
obviously, and they
I
need to
don't.
be.
Yeah,
The valve
I
needs to
don't
be shut
disagree with
off.
that.
The valve needs to be shut off, and they need to be told go through the port of entry. We just can't handle any more illegal immigrants. Asylum or whatever, go through your port of entry and claim asylum, and we'll get you rushed through if that's the case. But if you're going to claim asylum and you're not, and you're one of the people, the 90% that don't plan on showing back up to the court, well, you're going to wait in Mexico until your court date.
Well, it has to be like what you also stated, though. Like, as I pointed out, there is a large portion of them that cannot come here just simply because coming here legally removes any avenue for them coming here. So as you said, we need to look into those things. If you don't want people to come here legally, you need to expand those avenues so that they can come here legally. Because like I said, a lot of folks, if you grab them and say, go back and come here legally, and here are the ways you could come, they wouldn't qualify with anything on the list. So a lot of them are coming here illegally because there is no other way to do it. And until we change our rules, they have no other choice. They have to come here the way they're doing.
We do have a choice, though. Close the border, have them come here legally through the port of entry. We
Yeah,
have
but
a choice.
you're not hearing what I'm saying. If I'm a
I
60
hear
year old,
you. I
okay,
hear
so
you. You're
let me
telling
ask you
me,
this. I'm asking you, if I'm 60 and I don't have any money and I want to come to America legally, they don't want somebody my age. They want somebody with skills, as Liam Neeson said, a particular set of skills. I don't have any of that. How do I go to America legally?
so what is your plan when you get there?
I just
To
want to
live
work in
off?
a factory or something. I'll drive an Uber. I just want to get by.
Yeah, just have a plan. That's all I'm
But
saying.
that's not going.
Have a plan and execute that plan.
You
We're,
can't do that. You can't go to the immigration office and say I have a plan. You're saying come here legally. It's going to cost money. You need to have a skill. I don't have any of that. How
yeah,
can I
right.
come to
No,
that country legally?
I thought we were discussing changes that could be made.
And that's the point I told you is that we're telling people to come here legally without making
Right.
those changes first.
No, well, we gotta go by the laws that's on the books right now. We can't just say we want to go by these laws. We don't want to go by these. Law, that decision's been made. It's law. So enforce the law. The floodgates are open. We got to do something. Sitting on our hands and waiting on laws to change is a non-answer. That's a
No,
non. That's
I
a
don't
yeah.
disagree with any of
It's
that.
almost like we're looking for excuses to sit on our hands. Let's not do
Yeah,
that.
but
Let's
I
not
think
sit on our
that
hands. Let's
yeah,
not look at everybody as, oh, every single person's got to be wanting asylum. How
yeah.
many people do you think? I mean, what percentage do you think actually want asylum that qualify for asylum?
Well, considering some of them barely even have any paperwork to prove where they're from, there's no way to know that. I mean, if you want to
Right.
do
There
a
you go.
bet or you want to do a background check, some of these people,
So if
there's no
we
way to
started
do that.
enacting the law, I bet you they would come here with the right paperwork. If we started saying
I
you
don't
can't
think so.
cross it, I do. If you don't cross, if
I
you
think if we enacted the laws and made people come here legally, it would just greatly reduce the amount of people that qualify. That's what I believe what would happen. And it would tell the folks that are in those countries, many of them, the only way you could possibly get into America is to try to sneak in. If you follow their laws of coming here legally, all of you guys are disqualified. That's what I believe.
well, I mean, we have to adhere to the laws that are on the books
Yeah.
currently, and at the same time, we can debate what laws need to be changed. I don't think it needs to be that damn expensive to become a citizen. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's very expensive, and that shouldn't be the case. Oh, I know a friend of mine who came here from South America. He, I think it was Honduras, but anyway, he came here and had to submit thousands of dollars several times because
Right.
when Obama was president, they kept changing the rules and changing the what it cost. So they kept sending him new paperwork and a new bill. So he paid 5,000, then he paid 7, and then he paid 12, and it was just he finally got a citizenship. And now when he sees the floodgates open, he's not happy about that either. He's like, damn it, I came here legally. Everybody needs to come here legally.
Yeah, but
That's the
everybody
way
don't
that's
have
the
that.
way you should do it.
But you need to ask that individual.
He's a
Out of
truck
the
driver.
people, yeah, you need to ask that individual. Out of all the people you see on TV lined up against that wall or crossing the river, how many of them you think have the same amount of money you paid to get here legally? I'll give you the last word. I got to move it on though.
Yeah, I mean, we can have a bleeding heart for every single person trying to cross illegally, but at the end of the day, if we don't start adhering to the laws that are on the books, those floodgates are going to remain open. We need to finish the
Yeah.
wall. We need to install the sensors that are needed to know if the wall's been tampered with. We need cameras and we need quick reaction forces, and we need to go through the port of entry. And the more you promote open borders, the more coyotes you're employing.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. All right. Appreciate it, Johnny. You know you're always welcome on the program, man. Good talk.
Hey, good talk, man. Good to talk
You
to you.
too. Come on back to. All right. In the comments, Johnny, where did your ancestors come from? I didn't ask him that, but hey, I'm sure he would have had an answer for that. Obama and Clinton ran on building a border wall, but did it happen though? I don't. Obama with a border wall, really? Okay. And of course, there's no denying that Obama was separating families because that came up. But the crazy thing is, when Obama was president, what were the folks on the right saying? He was for open borders too. Only when Trump started taking backlash for separating families did the right step up and say, well, you know, the last guy was doing that too. No, you were saying the last guy was for open borders, but not because your guy's getting in trouble, you want to point it out. In other words, Obama was doing exactly what you think should be done, but you kind of couldn't give him credit for it. So you're going to say he was for open borders when he actually was separating families. You know, politics can be deceptive at times, and that was a perfect example of it when it was happening. Because when Obama was separating families, they were not giving him credit at the time for being strict on illegal border entry. They were saying he was for open borders. Turns out maybe he actually was defending the border after all. You damn as do, damn as you don't. Exactly, defend. Exactly. Obama was separating families, blamed it on Trump. Donovan, how could Obama between 2008 and 2016 be separating families and blaming it on Trump? Trump was not even president. He was a citizen at the time. So how could he be blaming it on Trump? And why wasn't it known between 2008 and 2016 that Obama was separating families? Why wasn't the folks on the right, either suggesting that Obama is too harsh on immigrants or that Obama is protecting our border by separating families? They were saying he was for open borders. Maybe the truth would have gotten out if you weren't so interested in trying to lie and make the guy look ineffective at the border. Turns out he was doing exactly what the guy we like, Trump, was doing. We just didn't give him credit for it. Looking in the comments here. Put alligators and piranhas in the Rio Grande. Well, if you've been on the Rio Grande, you know it's not deep enough in some places for some of this stuff. The alligators would probably be coming off on the shores and also eating some of the border agents. That could be a problem. Why do we hate the problem we have at the border so much that we would be in favor of loss of life to stop it? I'm not here to pretend like what's going on at the border is a good thing. I'm willing to admit Biden is not doing a good job at the border, but do we really want the folks coming in this country improperly to lose their life? I mean, it sounds like trying to flee North Korea or jumping over the Berlin Wall. You really are up to and including executions as part of the solution? Have we no heart? I mean, seriously. Can you imagine seeing that on YouTube somewhere or some of the darker web, seeing immigrants actually being eaten? What about the active self-protection channel? For some of you 2A supporters, I'm a big fan of the active self-protection channel. How do you avoid an alligator in the middle of the night? Come on now, you guys. What would Jesus do? I'm talking to my folks on the right, my evangelicals, my Christians, my God-fearing folks that say we need Christianity back in schools. You want alligators? Is that what Jesus would do? Have them chewed up and spit out? Wow, you guys are harsh. No, seeing kids being eaten alive. No, wake up. Yeah, that takes Epstein to a whole nother level, don't it? Eating kids. Wow. The Berlin Wall kept people in. The border wall keeping people out. Big deal. Well, the Berlin Wall didn't keep nobody in. The fact that you would get shot trying to jump over it is what kept people in. And even still, people tried to climb the Berlin Wall. That's the difference, is that if you climb the Berlin Wall, you would be facing death. You don't face death trying to enter. Well, you actually do. I mean, the climates and things like that in the middle of, crossing the Rio Grande in the middle of the desert out there, you can face death. But I don't know if I would want to do something that's deliberately designed to harm people. Obviously, using alligators, that's the whole goal, is to literally have people lose their lives. That just seems harsh. That seems like the shit that we invade other countries for and blame them for not being, in face of promoting humanity. That just seems awful. Going back to the box, Army vet. Good. Army vet. Let me know if good afternoon, Army vet.
Hey, how's it going, brother?
Going good. So, and by the way, folks, tap the screen, get your boy up to 40,000 likes. This is what we do here. Feel free to follow the program. What do you think about Biden and the border?
Well, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Hello?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
I was putting my earbuds in.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the thing. Neither party has an answer for the border. People want to sit here and say Democrats are for open borders. Republicans keep saying secure the border. There's been a Republican, when Bush was in office, he had a Republican president, Republican House, Republican Senate, and the border's not secure.
That is true.
So neither side can sit here and say secure the border. I get so sick and tired of people falling for this whole political thing. Every time it comes to election season, Republicans run to Democrats are not securing the border. We need to secure the border, but they never come with a solution. Not one time. I'm 52 years old. And in 52 years, the border has never been secured by anybody. Obama
true.
at one time was called the deporter in chief because he deported more people out of the United States that was here illegally than any other president. Illegal immigration was down at a 50-year low under Obama, but they don't want to admit that. It's always Obama's fault for this, that, and the other.
And I do agree with that, and I do remember the deporter in chief. I think Rush Limbaugh used to say that. But based on what you're saying, and you and I agree on that, why is it that the Democrats have this reputation of being in favor of open borders when the last president, meaning Obama, was clearly not doing that?
Because from a Democratic, here's the thing with Democrats, and from my perspective, Democrats are not on the same wavelength as Republicans when it comes to individualisms. See, Republicans feel like you as an individual, if you do X, Y, Z, then you can become successful. Democrats look at it like everybody should get a hand up. If we can help those who are in need, let's help those in need. Republicans don't look at it that way. They say, you know what? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps like I did or like my grandparents did, but their grandparents didn't have the same struggles as somebody else's grandparents. So Democrats look at how can we help everybody. Republicans don't look at it that way. So it's easy to sit here and say Democrats just want more illegal people coming over here because they're going to vote Democrats. My girlfriend, she's Mexican. Most Mexican people are conservative in their values. So there's no
Well, but
guarantee
wait a
that they're
minute
going to
though.
become
Wait a minute.
Democratic voters.
Yeah, but when you say most Mexicans are conservative in their values, you can say the same thing about black people too. I mean, we tend to have a lot of I mean, we're brought up
That's
religious.
true. We
Yeah.
are.
So why do people of color tend to avoid the Republican Party then?
Because the Republican Party, since I've been born, has been rooted in racism. I'm not saying there's
Mm.
no racist people on in the Democratic Party, but I'm saying the policies that the Republican Party espouse is racist.
Give me some
Trump coming down
examples.
the elevator spewed nothing but bigotry and racism.
Give me some
Okay, here's an
examples.
example. All right, here's an example. In 1968, I believe it was when the Civil Rights Bill was trying to be passed, right? The
Okay.
Republican Party was against that. Okay, so I think it was LBJ that signed it into law, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who he himself, who was a Democrat, had to be pushed to it, right? But he did what was right. It's not always easy, but you have to do what's right. The Republican
Okay,
Party
but
was against that.
you're inevitably
Republicans
going to.
love Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
Ronald,
All right, keep going. That's what I was looking for. Go ahead.
let me. So right, so Republicans love Ronald Reagan, who was responsible for the drug on wars, right? The crack epidemic. He was directly responsible for that, but never held to account for it. But besides that, there's audio tape of Ronald Reagan talking to Richard Nixon, talking about the African delegate that came over and said that they're not even comfortable wearing shoes, right?
But
And
I
so
gotta
when you
rebut.
see
But
this
hang on.
racism that pours
But
out of them,
But wait a minute, I got to
sure.
rebut by pointing out that Kamala Harris and Biden have passed legislation that locked up a hell of a lot of blacks as well. So, and they're obviously not Republicans. I mean, everything, and also there's no shortage of folks, and I'm not going to say whether I agree or not, but there's no shortage of folks who believe that Trump did more for black people than any president. How do you respond to them?
But they can't, because they can't point out not one policy that was passed, not one bill can they say that Donald Trump passed that benefited black people. They can say it, but they're clearly lying because they can't say not one policy. Now, as far as Biden and Kamala Harris, when she was the Attorney General, she had a program. I forget the name of it, but it was a program that was meant to help those coming out of the system to reacclimate into society and get jobs. So you can say she locked up people, but she also gave a pathway to better yourself. Okay, if you commit a crime, you need to be held to account. I don't care what color you
Yeah,
are,
but
right?
we're not
Now,
arguing
on the
whether
flip
we're not
side,
wait.
with the
We're not arguing
1994
whether you need to
crime
be. Hold
bill,
on, hang on, hold on. Let me interject. We're not
sure,
arguing whether you need to be held to account. We're talking about
sure.
draconian sentences like California's three-strike law that she was involved in. Not that you need to be held to account, but they were locking people up forever for any damn thing.
Okay, let me speak to that. In the 1990s, with the gang violence and the crack epidemic,
Okay.
there were black people in the black community saying it's too much death. We need to do
Okay.
something about it. And when the 1994 crime bill came about, it was everybody on the Democratic side damn near, everybody on the Republican side damn near that voted for that. So when people just say, well, Biden is responsible for the 1994 crime bill, no, Maxine Waters voted for that 1994
I agree
crime
with
bill.
that. Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
when the
Yeah.
community is saying, when the community says we're trying to stop the killing, we need something done. Well, you get people that's going to go to the extreme, just like these people talking about alligators and crap in the water. You have people go to the extreme. Okay, you want to clean up the
Yeah.
community, 3 strikes and you go to jail forever. You have a little bit of crack, you go to jail for 10 to 20 years automatically. But if you have powder cocaine that the rich white people are getting, then we're not going to give you as much time. So I'm saying you can't put just the 1994 crime bill on Biden or just the high sentencing rates on Kamala Harris. The people were asking for it, but then they go far, far, far out of whack when they're coming up with a solution. And so now we can see the ramifications for that, right? And so now we're trying to fix those ramifications, but who's fighting us on fixing those ramifications? It's the right.
Yeah.
And so I'm
You know,
just saying,
I
no
think
one
you
party
stated
has
that.
all the solutions.
Yeah, I think you stated that part quite well, and I see somebody actually, old girl, hooks you up. Because even right now in this day and age, we do obviously have more people incarcerated in this country than any other country. And when you look at the legislation, you see liberals trying to relax the laws, and the Republicans are always crying that you guys are softer and crying we need to lock more people up. So. I think you really stated it well, but so you believe the main reason brown folks, meaning black and Hispanics, the main reason, even though they align with conservative values often, is they are avoiding the party because it's deeply rooted in racism.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. If you, I look at it like this: if you're making policies or suggesting policies or voting against policies that will benefit the mass majority of people, you're on the wrong side of history. I'm not saying Democrats have all the answers, because there's some things that I truly disagree with on the Democratic side. But when I have to look at, okay, if I'm going to get 10 things from the Democrats and I'm going to get -2 from the Republicans, I got to go with the Democrats, because
Yeah.
Democrats not trying to take anything away from me, but Republicans are. You see what I'm saying? So I want to
Yeah.
maintain what we have and make it better, not detract from it. But one final thought here
Go.
is when it comes to the border, it's not about why they're coming here necessarily. We need to fix basically the paperwork. We can't process people fast enough to see if they truly are here for the right reasons. They're here for persecution, running from gangs or cartels or government suppression. We can't process people fast enough. So if you can't process people fast enough and they're trying to flee from something that could take their lives, what do you expect them to do? Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah, but
sit right here
do
in
you
my own
believe?
country when
Yeah, but do you believe all of those folks, 2,500 people coming per day, you believe they're all seeking asylum? Because, like one of my callers stated, I think it was Johnny, as he stated, they know the magic words to say to get in this country. I mean, how many of them are just coming because they think they could be wealthier in the United States as opposed to in their own home country? Do you think all of those people are seeking asylum?
well, here's my thing with asylum, right? What's the definition of asylum, right? If I'm in Haiti and our country is being ravaged by earthquakes and there's no job, no running water, I want asylum from that. You see what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily running from my government or somebody, but so we need to know exactly. Maybe I don't know what America's definition of asylum is, but are we putting the same efforts towards getting people coming through Canada from Europe who can fly on a plane into America on a visa and then overstay their visa? Are we hunting them down to kick them out? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are we taking the Asian women that have been documented that will come over here when they're 9 months pregnant so that their child can be born in America and then
Anchor
have dual
baby.
citizenship? Are we doing anything about them? You see what I'm saying? So
Well,
we're only doing things against black and brown people. And so therefore the policies that are in place seems very biased. And we have to fix those things before we can just say secure. Let's put a whole bunch of military battalions on the border to keep them from coming across. That does not fix the ultimate problem. Why are
what
people
about
wanting to
the
come
what
here? If they
about
had jobs that are plentiful in their own countries, they wouldn't come here.
What about the folks that are suggesting alligators and piranhas? What do you say to somebody like that?
Well, those are probably 13-year-old kids, trolls, bots. You know what I'm saying? No sensible person really wants to do that. So those type of people I ignore anyway, right? They just want
Okay.
to get a reaction out of people in the comments so that they can get interaction and boost their TikTok
But
numbers,
wait a
right?
minute, wait a
So I
minute.
don't
There
really pay
are,
attention to those
but
type of
wait a
people.
minute. there are people who suggested that even Trump talked about. I mean, it might be a rumor, it may not be true, but there are folks who suggested that even Trump actually questioned digging a moat, putting water in it, and doing something similar.
Mm-hmm.
Think there's any
Okay, did he
possibility
do that
there?
with his wife and his did he do that with his wife and her parents? Did he do that with Jared Kushner's parents? Right?
No,
So like I said, I can't listen to these people who are so hypocritical in what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? His
yeah,
parents couldn't even become citizens until Trump got into office. As soon as he got them in, he said, "Okay, let's do away with the anchor program." It's the hypocrisy for me that I can't take these people seriously. Right? Come with the real
right.
solution. I don't care where it comes from, the right or the left or independent. Come with real solutions to help people migrate. We have, how many people you think is in like Montana or South Dakota with all that land they have? Just a few 100,000 people live in all those states. So it ain't
I've
like we're
been up
running
there.
out
It's
of
wide
land,
open.
right?
Yeah, it's
We
wide
have
open.
exactly. And so we have plenty of land, right? There are plenty of jobs that are being unfulfilled right now because we don't have the workforce.
But
Okay,
here's the
my
problem.
girlfriend, her parents
But
were,
here's the
were allowed
problem.
to
I'm at to
come
move it.
here by Ronald
Okay, wait.
Reagan back in the 80s.
But
Go ahead.
here's the problem, though. I'm at to move it on shortly. But here's the problem, and I want you to give me your spiel on this. If you let too many people in, it changes the culture of the country. I mean, even right now, you call a lot of businesses, and you got to push one for English because half of the employees no longer speak the language. So how do you deal with the fact that if you bring a bunch of folks from different countries here, it will not feel like America? I mean, you've been around the country, I'm sure. There are certain areas of the towns you go in
Sure.
where it doesn't even feel like you're in the country. I mean, I've been in restaurants and places where the person serving me did not even speak English. So how do you deal with that?
Okay, that's easy, right? So right now, so I used to work for a company, and they're an international company, and they move a large portion of their finance department to India. Okay,
Okay.
so when you call this company, you're getting a person that barely speaks English on that line. You
Right.
see what I'm saying? The world is small now. I don't care what the square mileage is, that's not changing of the planet, but it's a small world now. So, yes, I think anybody that comes here, even though America does not have an official language, okay, people that come here should learn English, but give them time. How many people going to sit up here and say that they can speak Spanish? As large as the Spanish speaking population is in the United States, how many people take the time to learn Spanish? Guess what
But you
people that
shouldn't
learn
have.
Spanish
That's the
does?
problem,
They
though. That's
make
the
more
problem.
money
You
being
should.
bilingual.
Yeah, but the problem is, like you said, is we don't have an official language. I agree it would be beneficial to learn Spanish, but if you're in America, you shouldn't have to learn the language of folks who migrated here. You should actually, the migrants should have to learn a
We
language for
had
the
to,
nation they're in.
and they do. It just takes
Not
time.
all
That's
of
what I'm
them.
saying. It's like when you go to
Not
that
all of them.
restaurant and that person, what kind of what restaurant you going to that they don't speak English?
Shit, if
You
you
see what I'm
go
saying?
down,
Like
if you
when I
go
go to
down,
my
wait a minute.
girlfriend. Check
Let me
this out though,
respond to
real
that.
quick.
Let me respond to that because I've been all over the country as an over the road driver. I'll tell you, when you go down to the border, like if you go to Laredo, which is a city that is in America, you can walk in Dollar Tree and nobody speaks English. Most of those businesses down there in those border towns, nobody speaks English. You can go a lot of places like that. You can go to
And they're 90
Walmart
and
and all
they're
the
90
signs are in
90%
Spanish.
Hispanic though.
But it's not
They're
Spain.
ninety
You're not in,
percent
you're
down in
not in the
Laredo, El
Spanish
Paso. They're
country
ninety
though.
percent.
Yeah, but you're
It
right.
it
But
was
that's the
Mexico
problem I'm
before America
saying.
took it.
Yeah, but that's that's true. That
Okay,
is
so
true.
listen. Here's my thing, right?
Go ahead. Go
Right.
ahead.
So here's my thing, though, right? I'm okay with Spanish, right? But I really feel uncomfortable speaking it to people who are fluent that I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
So when they speak Spanish to me, I understand it, but oft times I will not respond in Spanish because my Spanish is not good enough. So they may understand your English, what you're asking of them, but them responding back to you is much more difficult. I can read and write Spanish way better than I can speak it. And so I'm very apprehensive in speaking Spanish, and they are very apprehensive about speaking English, even if they understand you. Because nobody wants to sound stupid. Nobody wants to be misunderstood. So when people say learn the language, they are. It just takes time to do so.
I
Right.
don't.
And so
I,
I just think
yeah,
we
I
all
don't.
just
I
need to
don't.
have a little more understanding.
Fair enough. Hey, Army vet, I got to move it on, but appreciate you coming through, man. Good talk.
Yes, sir. All
Absolutely.
right. Thank you, man.
Thank you for your service. I agree with most of what he said, and certainly in terms of most immigrants do want to learn English, but not all of them. I've known, I've lived in areas that had folks that looked like they've been in the country long enough they could not speak any, barely speak a lick of English. When I moved to Australia, now obviously they speak English in Australia as well, but there is a lot of words that have different meanings. I tried my damnness to assimilate, as much as I could. I wouldn't want to go around because Americans can be viewed as egotistical. Certainly in Australia, they used to say that all the time. You guys promote freedom like you're the only person that's free or like you're the best country in the world, and they love their country. So I do believe that is one of the core issues that a lot of folks have is that they, instead of coming to the country to assimilate, they come with the notion of changing the country over. I'll give you a prime example. I was in Chicago during Mexican Heritage Day, and I went out with my family downtown Chicago to have pizza, and pizza restaurant closed at like 10 o'clock at night, and I had to go back to my cousin's house on the south side. On Hispanic or Mexican Heritage Day or whatever it was, they shut the whole damn city down. It took me 4 hours to drive approximately maybe 10 miles in Chicago at midnight. I didn't get home till like 4 in the morning. When I say took over the city, I mean they literally stopped their cars 3, 4 lanes deep on the highway, got out and partied right in the middle of the highway. Now, it was a news story, so it shouldn't be that damn hard to look it up. But they literally shut down the entire city. And I remember joking. Now, I'm liberal, but what I'm about to say is going to sound right wing as hell. I remember joking with my cousin because he was following behind me. We both didn't get home to 4 a.m. Took us all those hours to drive, which should have been 15 minutes because they were just literally blocking the highway. I remember joking with my cousin. This is going to sound really bad, but I remember saying, now I understand when people want to shoot a protester because they literally got out and blocked the highway. There was nowhere to park because the city of Chicago shut down the actual inner city downtown. A lot of people live there and shit, so they were defending those properties so people couldn't party in front of their houses. So only the highway that goes around the city was open. I was stuck on Lakeshore Drive. You couldn't park on the shoulders because they had all of that done. And so the traffic is inching along at about 1 mile an hour. And you can't stop. You can't sleep. You can't rest. So I'm in the car dozing off, can barely stay awake. Car behind me is blowing at me every 1 or 2, mile per hour. They want you to inch up. And I had to deal with that shit for like 4 straight hours. I was pissed. Meanwhile, cars are blowing horns and shit. The Mexican flags are flying everywhere. I love Mexicans, but that pissed me off. It took me 4 hours to drive 10 or 15 miles. I really hated it. It really sucked. But listen, folks, this is a lunch break live. Appreciate the fact you guys can be anywhere you want to be on social media. In fact, you've been rolling with your boys, always an honor. 43,000 likes. You know how we do it here. But because I'm on lunch break, I got to get back to work. Appreciate that. I'll catch you guys on the next live. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I got to go.